And so when we first launched the team, we sat down and said, what are those friction points for fans when they go to sporting events? And one of the major bullet points that we came up with was being nickel and dimed. You pull into the parking lot, you pay for parking, then you go inside, you pay for a beer, you pay for a hot dog, you pay for the 50-50 raffle. You're constantly pulling cash out of your pocket. And so we wanted to come up with a solution that was fan friendly, that would not nickel and dime you throughout your entire experience. And so the all-inclusive ticket was born. So with your ticket, you do get all of your hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, chicken sandwiches, chips, cookies, soda, and water.
Hey, it's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. If you're new to the podcast, check out my interview with Mike Michalowicz. It's episode number 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode 1 is the why and how. On the Profit Answer Man, we learn money mastery without all the complicated accounting mumbo-jumbo, using a simple system. Your accountant is busy documenting your transactions and creating a rearview mirror of what happened. My guess is you don't even look at the reports they sent you. If you're like most business owners, you struggle with this, and it's not your fault. We aren't taught money in school, and accountants aren't taught how to be profitable. The Profit First system created by Mike Michalowicz works, and he certified me to help you implement the system in your business. Remember, the new equation is sales minus profit equals expenses. Let's face it, without cash flow, you can't pay your employees, buy needed materials, or pay your mortgage and support your family. I help you to do that and more, so you can focus on the parts of the business you love and receive the rewards for your labor and investment into your business. The stronger you are as a business owner, the more jobs you create, the better we are as a country. Small business owners are the backbone of America, and for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. Just remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line.
Have you heard of the Savanah Bananas baseball team and Jesse and Emily Cole, the owners? They are the poster child of success of implementing profit first. When you think of minor league baseball, do you think a team can be profitable? Can they figure out how to stay profitable through COVID? You bet. Mike Michalowicz talked about them back in episode 2 when we asked about, hey, what's one of the most successful Profit First implementations? You have to understand, Profit First is about more than 5 bank accounts. It's about a mindset. It's about how you run your business. And I have to say, they've got it down. Today, we're joined by Emily Cole, who's going to share how they did it and how they keep doing it and how you can too. Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Emily Cole. It's great to have you join us today.
Oh, thank you so much. Excited to be here with you.
Can you share a little bit about the Savanah Bananas and what you're all about?
Yeah, so the Savanah Bananas, fun story. I'll give you the quick version, but we launched in 2016 in Savannah, Georgia. Started out as a college summer team, just played with college guys throughout the summer so that they could advance their career. But we realized early on that we couldn't be normal and we couldn't be the same as all the other sports teams. And that's not who we are anyways. So we took a lot of risks. We went out on a limb. We named the team after a fruit. Got in a lot of trouble for that from the local community. You know, it was something that people were not embracing right away. They thought we were a joke. They thought it was too silly. But fortunately, over time, people did come out because we started to prove ourselves with just the entertainment that was seen at the ballpark. And so while people from afar were thinking that it was too silly, once people started coming, they noticed that it wasn't about the baseball necessarily. You did not have to be a diehard baseball fan. You could just be looking for a good night out. And that's what we try to provide, is a fun family entertainment. It is more like a circus than a baseball game, but that's why it's so attractive to so many. So many teams you can go watch if you are looking for just the best baseball product out there. And we've said from the beginning, that's not going to be us. While we have amazing athletes, we concentrate more on entertaining the fans and the experience that the fans have while they're in the ballpark. So really, it's just all scripted from a show standpoint that the fans have kind of started to believe in us. And we've been very fortunate over the last few years, selling out all of our games and just having a lot of fun.
And minor league baseball is a difficult business proposition. I know we have a local team in town, and I think they struggle to fill their stadium. I know there's a couple other teams nearby. They've done much, much better. At the end of the day, it's about entertaining people, showing them a good time. And of course, you've got to make a profit, which is why we're here. Because back in the beginning, you guys read a book called Profit First. So how did that all work out for you?
Yeah, we did. We're big fans of Mike Michalowicz and read the book and, fortunately got connected to Mike and just learned a lot about his philosophy. We read all of his books, actually. As you're launching any new company, any new brand, there's a lot of upfront costs, right? And so we had to go into it strategically. We were young. We were a young married couple. We did not have a lot of money. In fact, we had to sell our house and empty out our savings to launch this new expansion franchise when we went all in and launched the Bananas. And so it was a really big risk for us. And so we wanted to do it as smartly as we could. And so we read Mike's stuff and we learned as much as we could from him. One of the things that I really remember learning from that book was that we needed to enjoy saving as much as we enjoyed spending. And we took that philosophy both personally and professionally with the team. And we were just very careful in how we spent. We tried to become more creative and not spend money just because every other team spent money on certain things. We tried to look at it differently as we do everything and say, how can we do this differently? How can we get creative? How can this become a trade instead of dollars that we spend? And so we just became very strategic with our limited monetary funds, and fortunately, we're able to launch it successfully and not go out of business or belly up in that tough time in the beginning.
Well, even now, you survived through COVID and restrictions, and you've continued to thrive. And I don't know if people know the truth, but most baseball franchises don't really make very much money. And in the sense of being profitable, they might have top line revenue, but they don't necessarily get to keep it all. There's so many expenses from players to just the park itself and everything else that's involved, including tremendous amount of travel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough industry. Many of them are. A lot of the teams who we had learned from in the past, the owners were normally older gentlemen who had retired from a certain industry and had money that they could kind of play with. And that was the total opposite for Jesse and myself. We were young. We were the ones working the team. We were doing every position. And so it really had to succeed for us. This was not a hobby. This was a life. And so we just poured everything that we had into it and tried to look at it differently from how most teams do things. And so I think that was an advantage we had because from the very beginning, we couldn't run things the way other teams had run things in the past. And we had to be very strategic and very intentional on the dollars that we spent and the dollars that we saved and how we hired and how we spent our money. And so, yeah, it was definitely a different way to view things for this industry. But again, fortunate that it all worked out. COVID was definitely a curveball that nobody saw coming, but we were very creative in how we did things. We learned how to bottle and sell one of our popular alcohol drinks at the stadium, and we sold it in a drive-through style during COVID. So there was no interaction, nobody saw each other, but they were still able to have a taste of the Bananas and just came up with creative things like that were able to help us get through those tough times when especially, the entertainment industry, the hospitality industry took a huge hit.
And I think that's one of the things that you and Jesse are amazing at is finding different ways to do business, finding different ways to entertain, not just following what everyone else says. And one of the things that I didn't know about before that I was kind of shocked at, and I was just talking with someone about it the other night who's also kind of in around the space, is the fact that when people buy a ticket from you and they come to your game, they don't then have to spend $10 on a hot dog and $5 on a soda. You sell an all-inclusive ticket. How do you make this all possible?
Well, while the name of the team is the Savanah Bananas, our umbrella company, our major company is called Fans First. And so all of our decisions come down to, what is this doing for the fan? How is the fan being taken care of with this decision that we make? And so when we first launched the team, we sat down and said, what are those friction points for fans when they go to sporting events? And one of the major bullet points that we came up with was being nickel and dimed. You pull into the parking lot, you pay for parking, then you go inside, you pay for a beer, you pay for a hot dog, you pay for the 50-50 raffle. You're constantly pulling cash out of your pocket. And so we wanted to come up with a solution that was fan friendly, that would not nickel and dime you throughout your entire experience. And so the all-inclusive ticket was born. With your ticket, you do get all of your hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, chicken sandwiches, chips, cookies, soda, and water. So you could come to the game and not spend $1. Now, there are ways to buy novelty items. Our merchandise does very well. We sell alcohol, we sell ice cream. So you can purchase additional items if you want, but all of your basics are included. And what's been really nice is for the families, the kids are running around. They don't need to go back to mom and dad and ask for more cash. They can go up to the concession stand and get a water and popcorn, and they're taken care of. So it's been a really great model for families, especially. And we're really proud of that all-inclusive ticket.
I didn't even think about that. But yeah, as a parent, kids are constantly in your wallet. We actually taught our kids not to do that, but they would love that whole concept of just being able to go ask and receive. Do you end up with a lot of waste because of that, or are people good about?
Yeah, so that's a great question. A lot of people wonder about that. In the beginning, it was very messy. We didn't have anybody to learn from. This was a completely new model in the sports industry. And so it was messy in the beginning, but we've gotten it down to a science now where we know exactly what to cook based on the night, based on the weather, based on the group tickets that are coming out. And we have a pretty great science of what to cook. And fortunately, we do not have a lot of waste at the end of the night.
And you're pretty much sold out, right? Every game sold out?
Yeah, we've been so fortunate with the response, but Savanah has definitely embraced us. And honestly, it's become kind of a national phenomenon now where people are traveling in from, I guess, not even just all over the country, but all over the world. Every night we have people from other countries that are coming to see it. So very fortunate to be sold out all the time in Savanah.
Now, you do entertain people, and yet you somehow have kept your entertainment costs extremely low, correct?
Yeah. And again, it's just thinking outside the box and being creative. While a lot of teams are hiring these national acts to bring in for 1 or 2 nights, we have hired from within, and we've come up with our own characters and our own entertainers. And so rather than spend on this act that might be passing through Savanah one time in July, and we spend, $20,000 to have them come make an appearance, we can get a princess. We've made our own Princess Potassia, or the Man-Nanas, the dad bod cheerleading squad, or the senior citizen dance team, the Banana Nanas. We've invented all of our own characters who we are able to pay for an entire season. So they're now entertaining our fans every single night, and therefore have been able to keep costs lower and control the product that's being put out there.
And I know you're very, very conscientious and tight to time and to money and everything else. Like, everything comes down to a science, and you continue to work on it and prove. It's not just like, oh, we'll throw an act out and see what happens. I know that you really take the time to practice, to work at it, and to constantly improve. I'd love to hear just how you go about doing that.
Yeah, so my husband, Jesse, and our entertainment director, Zach, are very good at this. They've set up a model kind of like Saturday Night Live, where they have rehearsals and they write scripts, and then they practice things. And sometimes we'll have a VIP group or a tour or something going on at the stadium, and they're able to gauge the reaction of the fans who are seeing this promotion, we'll say. And they decide what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be done differently, or is this something that we scrap altogether? But every single night, they are trying 10 to 15 different things throughout our game that they've never done before. So our script is constantly changing. It's constantly being reinvented, and new ideas are being tried. And so while we do have a lot of science and data that goes into things, we also test very quickly and then move on very quickly or edit very quickly and change it up. We're not afraid to look messy and to have things not work out because we know that's how we're going to get to the next best thing. So they've gotten very good at that model of testing and adapting and reinventing. And so that's why every night at the ballpark, people can come out and they see a different show. They see a different experience because we are doing so many new things every single night.
And I think that's what people want today, right? Variety. We want to see the same things over and over. We want to see a different experience. And if you've got a lot of locals, it just always keeps it exciting, keeps it something new, and it's always a new show. A big part of this is building the culture within your organization. I think that's one of the main things that you also work on. Can you talk about how did you decide on your culture? Like, what is it like and how do you continue to build it?
Oh, absolutely. I could talk about this for days. It's so important to us. We've read every book and listened to every podcast on culture, but I think it comes down to what your leadership actually believes in. And so as simple as it is, we're a very young group. And so early on, we decided, hey, the people who we bring on, are they people that we would want to hang out at a barbecue with or have a beer with? Are they our type of people? Are our visions aligned? Do we see the same type of thing for this company and where it's going? And so very simply, those are the types of people who we bring in. Our interview process is very intense. It's like 3 months long. And we're very, very careful about the people who come into our culture. Because while it's important to get the right people in, it's as important to keep the wrong people out. And we are just so careful to make sure that the people who we bring in are going to want to grow, they're hungry, and that they personally want to get better, not just to get our company better, but we want to have great humans come out of this company as well. And so we're very intentional on that process and who we bring in. And as corny as it sounds, our team is like a family. We all like to hang out. We're all at each other's weddings and baby showers, and we go on vacations together because we're so careful about bringing the right group of people together. So yes, our culture is sacred. We are very careful about it. It's something that Jesse and I will always pour our heart into because we believe that if the culture ever loses what it has, then that's where we'll see our company start to deteriorate. But as long as we can keep that strong, we believe that we are on our way to the moon.
How do you do that? Because I think one of the struggles that a lot of people go through is some people are phenomenal at interviews. They say all the right things, but yet when you bring them on, they're not the person you interviewed. So how do you ensure that? Like, how do you said it's a 3-month long process. How do you make sure it's what you truly wanted?
Yeah, and we definitely don't have it all right by any means, but we've found some things that are very good. We have people write a future resume rather than send us their resume from the past. And so for us, that helps us see where are their goals, where are their dreams, what are the things that they're interested in. And sometimes it's good if we're not the end game. Sometimes we don't want to see that they're just going to be the director of whatever at our company in 70 years. We want to see how big these people dream. And so that's one of the things that's stuck out and really helped us find some big dreamers. We're very good with our internship program. A lot of people have internship programs, but we do believe that working alongside people is a great way to find the right people. And while you can fake your way through an interview, it's pretty hard to fake your way through a summer of working 14-hour days next to us and pulling the tarp at 2 a.m. or whatever. And so our internship program has led to some of our best hires. I would say about 75% of our company started as an intern or a part-time employee with us. And so we're just big fans of hiring our fans. So if people come to work for us and they become a big fan of the brand and they become a big fan of us and they're friends with everybody on staff, it's easier for us to see ourselves working with them. Of course, the skill has to be there, but most of the time we can help teach that. It's more so the personality, the work ethic, the drive, the dreaming, all of that has to be there in that person before we meet them. And then, the skill and that stuff can be taught later. So yeah, very big on those things when we're hiring.
I think that's something that's difficult to measure. Like, how do you measure work ethic? How do you measure drive? How do you know that the person you're hiring has it? Do you use certain types of psychological testing, or is there some other way?
We do. We not even so much for their job, but again, back to who they are as a person. So we love doing Enneagram tests. We do the love language test. But for us, that's more to find out how they're going to work in the department that they're in and the kind of person that they are. From a skill standpoint, to see if they really have it, we do have projects that are based on the skill or department that they're going to be in. But it really comes down to working alongside of them. And so if they have not been an intern or a part-time staff member and they're coming in from the outside, we'll have them collaborate with us on a one-off project and see how it goes with the people who they might be working with. So we do all those small bets often before we jump in and do a big hire.
And I know these days everyone is struggling to find employees. It's become harder and harder. Have you experienced that?
Again, very fortunately, we haven't. We have a wait list of people who want to work for us. And again, not to say that we've done it all right, because we haven't, but I think what we have done right is become a fun brand that is out there, and that has spread. And so people see us on TikTok and they say, hey, that looks like a lot of fun. I would want to work for them. And they go get on our website and get on our wait list. And over time, that's just grown to thousands of people who are interested in being a part of it. And so fortunately, because our content is out there and it is a fun place to be, and they know that the people who work there are having fun, that's what so many people are looking for. And so that's fortunately why we have a pretty long list of people waiting to work with us.
What advice would you give a business owner who's maybe not in the entertainment industry? How do they create that same excitement that you've created?
Yeah, everyone says, oh, it's so easy for you guys. You're a baseball team. And I get that. We are. But really, any company can put themselves out there in a multitude of ways. And it doesn't have to be on TikTok, doesn't have to be in bright yellow uniforms, but whatever it is that is so important to your team and your culture, you have to put that out there. And if you scream that from the rooftops enough times, it's going to catch on to the right people, and the right people are going to hear that message and they will be interested. And so it is different across the board. But if your school or your company is known for certain things, then the people who are also attracted to those things are going to find out about it. If they're on podcasts and they're on the local news and they're out in the community at things, the more that they immerse themselves in the community or in the circles that they want to be known in, the right people are going to hear about them and show up.
And so you've got to be the type of place that people want to work at. It's got to make it fun. And you can do that, I think, within any kind of industry. I mean, even as you look at Southwest, right? Everyone knows flying Southwest is a little bit more fun. Their people are more fun, and they know what they have to do to get things done. It's everyone will load bags. Everyone will do whatever they have to get that plane up and off the ground and in the air. And so it can be done in every single industry. You've just got to figure out how to do it for your company and your business. Okay. Now, you also reward your people, right? You put money aside from the top line to do that. So tell us about that.
Yeah, we put aside 1% of our top line to take care of our people. The name of our company is Fans First. And so to the outside, everybody thinks that that is the thousands of spectators in the grandstands. And it definitely is. But for my husband, Jesse, and myself and our leadership team, our biggest fans are the people working in our office. And so if we're not taking care of them, how can we expect them to turn around and take great care of the fans in the seats? So with that money, we do special things like take care of sending people on trips that are on their bucket list, or we do staff outings to help, build morale and have fun together. We've done shopping sprees at the outlets around Christmas time. We've done really big things like take the whole team on a cruise. And then we've done small things like turn the office into a spa for a day and have a massage therapist and a hairdresser come out and clean us all up and take care of us. So really what that account is used for is to just do anything that I feel would be good for an individual or the team when they have deserved it. And honestly, our team is such rock stars. There's always something to celebrate, but it's fun to have that account and to constantly be thinking about how can we take care of our people. The money is already set aside. It's there. It is allocated to spend on that. And so that's been just a lot of fun to have.
And I think that's a big part of Profit First, because you're allocating money with purposes. then you can use it for that purpose. You don't have to think about it. It's like, hey, This is our money for spending. This is our money for taxes. This is our money for profit. This is our money to give back to our people. And many of our clients and people who use Profit First do set up a bucket to reward their people, because I think that's a big part of it. And what you're talking about is putting your people first, because again, they're the ones who are out front making you look great. And so we need to do a good job of helping them to be able to be great and be rewarded for what they do. I find regular bonuses to be boring and not rewarding. And it sounds like what you're doing is it's that delight of the unexpected, and they never know. And anywhere else they work, they're not going to get anything like that. So it makes you definitely different.
Yes. Always trying to be different.
And that you guys are. So I think for a lot of husband-wife teams, there's difficulties. How have you guys navigated working together so well?
Oh, gosh, there were so many issues in the beginning. Fortunately, we've worked out a lot of it. But I think learning to stay in our lanes was really important when we were in the very beginning. And we are still a startup. So when we were in the early stages of being a startup, he and I would do everything. So there was so much crossover. And that's where the miscommunication and the stepping on each other's toes often happened. And so once we really learned what our strengths were and what we were both interested in, what gave us energy, and we were able to stay in our lanes, it has gotten so much better as a husband-wife duo.
So you're more on the operations side. Is he more on the visionary side?
Yeah, he is the marketer, the creator, the promotions guy. He's the one that will be on the news all day long, doing the interviews, talking about the upcoming promotions. And I love being behind the scenes, making sure that the correct amount of meat is being cooked for the correct amount of people who are coming, and making sure that the correct amount of staff members are there to take care of our fans. So our interests and what gives us energy are different, which is very helpful because he and I can work on totally different parts of the company. And at the end of the game, see each other for the first time all night and say, how was your night? And we really don't know because we've been in such separate worlds. So it isn't working, on each other, stepping on each other's toes as much anymore.
And that's good. I mean, everyone, even if you're not with your spouse, even if you're with a business partner, I think that's a big part of it. Defining your lanes, staying out of the other lane, and doing the parts that you love. And I love, because you've talked about it a little bit more, and I'm also kind of that operations kind of person. But understanding, hey, we've got this many people coming in. This is the mix of people coming in. This is the weather. This is how much food to cook. Most businesses can't get that. They don't even think in those terms. They don't even know where to begin. How do you figure out all the different things you have to measure?
Oh, we've had so many disasters, and we still do. We're still learning every day. But I think we've just built such a culture where we're not afraid of failing, that we know it's going to be messy when we get to before we get to the great. We have to work through that tough stuff before we see success. And we're just not afraid to jump in and to try things like our entertainment team does every night, doing 15 new promotions on the field. Our operations team may serve fans in a different line this way tonight, and we take notes and we time it and we figure it out, and then we make adjustments for tomorrow. We're just not afraid to try things. And fortunately, when you build customers, when you build fans and they believe in you so much, they're more forgiving when you do have those hiccups, because they know that your intentionality was good. They know that your hearts were in the right place, but you might have had a couple bumps in the road getting there. They're quicker to forgive you and allow you to keep trying.
How many different things do you time?
So I'm in the operations world. So for me, it's a lot of, how long does it take our staff members to get checked in? How long does it take somebody to park in a car and get into the stadium? How long does our ice cream line take? How long does our all-you-can-eat food line take? How long does it take people to go to the bathroom? How long does it take people to exit the ballpark? All of those touch points are either frustrations or enjoyable time periods for a fan when they're in the ballpark. So we are constantly trying to make sure that they are just the right amount of time. Sometimes you don't want the line to be too fast, because if the line's empty, it doesn't look like anything is good there, and it doesn't give people enough time to make a decision, right? So there's a right amount of time that people want to be in line. but it's not longer than 4 minutes, so we just have to work really hard on getting the exact precise amount of time for each of those things. So we're timing a lot.
And that's interesting. A lot of what you're talking about sounds like what Disney does. They've got it down to a science. Clearly, they've been around a little longer than you, but you're on your way to making that. And you're in the same business, right? You're entertaining and delighting people in your own way. That's
absolutely. We take a lot of inspiration from Disney. We take a lot of inspiration from cruise lines. We believe so much in getting outside of your comfort zone and learning from companies outside of your own industry. We could go to a million ballparks and see kind of the same thing everywhere. Sure, we would pick up some new ideas. But for us, when we get out of the space that we're very comfortable in, that's where our best creative stuff comes from. And so, yes, Disney is a big inspiration for us.
So get uncomfortable, fail, measure, improve, understand it's messy. Am I missing anything else?
Oh gosh, so many. We have so many philosophies, but yeah, those are some good ones.
How do you get all those philosophies out to your people? Like, how do you train all of that?
So everybody who comes on board goes through Fans First University, which is like a day-long immersive bananas life type of class. And it's always led by one of the leaders on the team, usually my husband, Jesse, or our president or our Fans First director, people who have been there since we launched. We've got some wonderful people who have been with us since the team started. And we just make sure that everybody coming in has the same beliefs that we do. One of the things that we get so excited about and we teach our staff is to say things like, when we launched in 2016. Well, half of them weren't there in 2016, but they have become such a part of the brand that they feel comfortable and confident saying when we launched in 2016, because they've heard so many stories. They've seen so many videos. They've talked to so many people who were there, that the stories have been passed down and, taken such great care of those stories that everyone who is on our team now feels like they are a part of it and they were a part of it when we started. So again, that 3-month interview process or the internship that they go through and then spending a full day or two in this Fans First U type setting, all of those are intentional so that the people coming on board do not feel new. We never want somebody to go to a meeting and say, it's my second day, I don't know what I'm doing. No, by the time they're out there on their own serving our fans, they have as much authority as I do. They believe in this brand as much as I do because they need to be if they're on the front lines. So we are very, very selective and careful about that.
Do you think any business owner, regardless of their business, can implement and do a lot of what you have done?
Absolutely.
I knew you would say that. That's why I asked. Because I think a lot of people will say, they can do that, but it's not for me. But the reality is everybody can do this. You just have to be intentional in your business, figure it out, and continue to take the steps and move forward.
And you can start small. This stuff didn't happen overnight for us. It was a very slow climb to becoming the most fun team in sports. This did not happen on day one.
We were an overnight success with 7 years of hard work that nobody noticed.
Yes. And the 10 before that my husband and I ran other baseball teams. There's so much history and stuff that people don't see. Yeah. If
people would like to learn more about the Savanah Bananas, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. A quick Google search will find you a lot of bright yellow. So just look up the Savanah Bananas. Our website is thesavanahbananas.com. But one of the most fun places to find us is on Instagram or TikTok. Our TikTok is especially popular. You could spend hours on it just laughing and hopefully bringing some joy into your home or office because we put a lot of fun stuff out there. So check us out on social.
And we'll have some of those links in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
How much more fun and enjoyable would it be to take your family to a ball game and never hear the words, Daddy, Mommy, buy me a hot dog, or some other item? I love how they change the pricing model and they make it more fun. They built such a following, they don't have to struggle to hire people. If they can do this with baseball, what can you do with your business to reinvent the process to ensure that you are always profitable, always have clients clamoring to come work with you, and have people who want to work for you? This is perfect. I'm going to be in Savannah next year, I can't wait to check out the game and experience this in person. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think that's tax deductible, right? It's time to think about your business and how you can play the game totally different than everyone else. Remember, you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful.
If you'd like for us to be a part of your profitability journey, we have different programs available ranging from do-it-yourself to one-on-one coaching. Our course, The Profit Blueprint, teaches you everything you need to know to transform your profitability. There are 3 different tiers ranging from DIY to done with you so that businesses of all sizes can get the support that's best. Join the waitlist in the show notes to get more information and be a part of the next cohort. If you want a done-for-you service, you can hire us as your Chief Profitability Officers. We only work with a handful of clients, so they all get our full attention. We work with business owners who have or are growing to $500,000 to $10 million in revenue. You can use the scheduling link in the show notes to get on our calendar for a good fit conversation to see if we're the right people to support you and how we can help you.
This episode of the Profit Answer Man podcast is brought to you by SMBpodcastnetwork.com. The network is a collection of podcasts and shows from around the internet which focus on bringing you interviews with amazing guests who share actionable advice, ideas, and information for small and medium-sized business owners and entrepreneurs. Visit www.smbpodcastnetwork.com to find more great shows and easily subscribe to be notified of new episodes. It's a great way to discover quality content. If you've discovered us via the network, then I hope you enjoy today's show and will consider subscribing directly so you never miss our episodes. Remember to check out my other podcast, Richer Soul, where we talk about how to live the ultimate life and be the best business owner you can be. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Have an abundant and profitable week.